Four completely different groups of people: armies defending nations, aid workers saving lives, desert nomads surviving the harshest conditions on Earth, and terrorists. All chose the same vehicle, not the same brand, not the same category, the same vehicle, the Toyota Land Cruiser 70 Series. I looked into why, and what I found reveals something about trust that no business school ever taught, and no marketing campaign ever manufactured. The obvious answer is reliability. Everyone says that. Every car review, every YouTube video, every Toyota advertisement. Reliable, rugged, built tough. But that answer is too easy, because dozens of manufacturers build reliable vehicles. Land Rover, Mercedes G-Class, Jeep, all reliable, all capable, all tested. None of them became the vehicle of choice for the United Nations, the Red Cross, armed militaries, and terrorist organizations simultaneously. Only one did, and reliability alone does not explain that, so I kept looking. And the real answer starts not in a factory. 1951. The Korean War is escalating. The American military occupying Japan needs a utility vehicle. They approach Toyota. Toyota has no experience building four-wheel drive vehicles. No technology, no blueprint, no heritage. They reverse engineer an American Willys Jeep, but fit it with a more powerful engine from their existing truck lineup. The result is the Toyota Jeep BJ. Nobody believes it will work, so Toyota does something unexpected. They send test driver Ichiro Taira to Mount Fuji. Not a test track, not a controlled environment, Mount Fuji. Taira drives the BJ to the 6th checkpoint, higher than any motor vehicle had ever reached on the mountain. The Japanese National Police Agency sees the footage and adopts it immediately. The Land Cruiser has its first believer. But here is what that moment actually proved. It was not just a capable vehicle. It was a vehicle willing to go where nothing else could. And that single principle, go anywhere, come back alive, became the obsession Toyota never abandoned. The next 3 decades, Toyota did something no other manufacturer was willing to do. They sent the Land Cruiser to the places that would break it: the Australian outback, corrugated dirt roads, extreme heat, distances that stretch beyond the horizon, the Sahara Desert, sand so fine it destroys engines, heat so intense it melts components, the Siberian tundra, temperatures so extreme that metal becomes brittle and fuel freezes in the lines. Not test tracks, not laboratories, real conditions, real failure, real consequences. Toyota called this philosophy Genchi Genbutsu, go and see. Every breakdown in the field became an engineering meeting. Every failure became a modification. Every harsh condition became a new standard. By the time the 70 Series launched in 1984, it had already survived what would destroy everything else. But here is where it gets interesting. While every competitor added screens, sensors, adaptive systems, and digital complexity, the 70 Series stayed mechanical, deliberately simple, deliberately repairable by anyone, anywhere, with basic tools. Because in a place where the nearest mechanic is 500 kilometers away, complexity is not a feature, it is a liability. And the organizations that operate in those conditions understood that immediately. Toyota Gibraltar Stock Holdings, the official supplier to the United Nations and major NGOs, ships approximately 650 Land Cruiser 70 Series vehicles every single month to conflict zones and disaster areas across more than 100 countries. The Red Cross, Médecins Sans Frontières, UNICEF, all running on the same platform. And here is what makes that extraordinary. A 70 Series operating in South Sudan uses the exact same mechanical parts as one operating in Afghanistan. One vehicle that works the same way everywhere on Earth. No other manufacturer on Earth can offer that. But here's the part that stopped me completely. In 2014, the United States Treasury Department launched an official investigation, not into a bank, not into a hedge fund, into Toyota. ISIS propaganda videos were showing hundreds of identical brand new Toyota Land Cruisers moving in convoy across Iraq and Syria. Hundreds, brand new, moving in formation. The US Treasury wanted to know how a terrorist organization acquired a fleet of new vehicles from one of the world's most respected manufacturers. The investigation concluded that the vehicles were diverted through gray market imports and stolen from legitimate regional distributors. Toyota had not sold to ISIS, but ISIS had chosen Toyota, not by coincidence, not by ideology, because in a war zone, a breakdown means capture or death, and the Land Cruiser does not break down. But here is where it gets extraordinary. The name the entire world uses for armed pickup trucks in conflict zones is technical. ISIS technicals, Taliban technicals, rebel technicals. That word is in every news news report, every military briefing, every conflict documentary, and almost nobody knows where it came from. In the early 1990s in Somalia, aid organizations hired local gunmen for protection. Those protection fees had to appear somewhere in the accounting, so NGO accountants listed them as technical assistance grants. The Toyota Land Cruisers those gunmen drove became known as technicals. The vehicle that aid workers drove to save lives gave its name to the vehicle that armed groups used to end them. Not because Toyota designed it that way, not because anyone planned it, but because when lives depend on the vehicle, every group on Earth, regardless of what side they are on, arrives at the same answer, the one that will not fail them. That is not a marketing achievement. That is the definition of trust. Toyota understood something most brands spend their entire existence trying to manufacture. Desirability fades, design dates, marketing is forgotten, but reliability compounds. Every Land Cruiser that crossed a desert became a story. Every story became a recommendation. Every recommendation became a sale. While other manufacturers spent billions redesigning models every 5 to 7 years, chasing trends, adding features, updating aesthetics, Toyota spent 40 years refusing to. The 70 series has run on the same basic frame and mechanical philosophy since 1984. Not because Toyota could not afford to change it, because they understood that changing it would break the one thing no amount of money can rebuild: trust earned over decades in the harshest conditions on Earth. And the market responded in a way no advertising campaign could manufacture. In Africa and the Middle East, a used 70 series commands prices that most brand new vehicles cannot justify. A 1993 model sold at auction in 2024 for $110,000, a 31-year-old vehicle worth more than most new cars on the market today. The market does not lie. It never does. This principle extends far beyond cars. The brands that outlast everything else are almost never the most exciting ones. They are the ones that showed up every time, without fail, for decades. Rolex does not reinvent the watch. Zippo does not redesign the lighter. Toyota does not abandon what works, because each of them understood the same thing. Consistency is not the absence of ambition. It is the highest expression of it. To resist the pressure to change, when every competitor is changing, when every trend demands evolution, when every focus group says add more features, and to say no, because you trust what you built. That discipline, more than any design decision, any marketing campaign, any product launch, is what separates the brands that last from the brands that disappear. Toyota's official development goal for the Toyota Land Cruiser is this: to build a vehicle that allows people to go anywhere and come back alive and safe. Not exciting, not prestigious, not designed to impress. They have been building towards that single goal since the 70 series launched in 1984. And for 42 years, Armies, aid workers, desert nomads, and enemies have all arrived at the same answer. Not because Toyota told them to, because the vehicle earned it. When failure is not an option, the world already knows what to choose. Welcome to Lineage.